Okay, hello guys. I'm back with an basic information and the general guidance with respect to the office activities, uh, office requirement, manpower, and the recruitment. It's the most important aspect of our entire imperative, and then the getting along with to enable yourself for the Mozocare franchise office. So, in terms of an office activities, whether it's owned or as a part of the master, the responsibility unit franchises, or even the joint ventures or the strategic partnership, this partner network office shall establish and operate the Mozocare Information Center. In short, is a MIC office as an assigned and designated regions for the development and marketing activities, outreach to the target audience in a very definitive way, which can be customized as per the addressable market and the geographical reasons. What are the activities will be taken care by this particular office? Obviously, the foremost we have the online counseling, which shall offer the online professional counseling, therapy, counselings for the patients, such as for the stress management, the mental health, diet, wellness, XYZ, for the patients, and the sponsors to the corporates and their employees to understand the various facets of the medical treatments and the medical travel via the chat, phone, or the videos, whichever will be applicable in that region and the suitable as per the local office dimensions. Then moving further, the online consultation, this is in turn will call as a second opinion or an expert advices for the patients who would be going for a certain kind of a medical treatment. Of course, this particular consultation again can be availed through the chat, phone, or the video calls. Here when I'm talking about a chat and all, we are particularly talking about the call and the video calls for those the dimensions. And finally, and overall, the most important activity which has been taken care of by this particular office would be the sales and the marketing and the support services operationally to support the patient, finding the way, the outclassed experience towards the medical travel to the desired destination of their choice. Right, the office requirement. Obviously, when you plan the business, we have a certain needs down to every detail, including the tools, equipments, peripheral, needs. What we'll have will indicate out how many desks you will need, how many rooms you will require, the facility you want your office to have, the note down the technology and infrastructure the business specifically will require. When I'm talking about your office, this particular office belongs to you, is in a partner network, the franchise of the Mozocare, and Mozocare would certainly take up a certain way to build upon those. The first and foremost important action you have to do is to identify a location. Right, it should be accessible by the target audience. As I said, that driving down to the funnel of an addressable audience, you must identify that the location is comfortable and accessible by those targeted audience. It must be in proximity to the hospital, corporate, and shopping places, because the patient, since we are into patient care, the patient would definitely readily and very frequently may go to the hospital for the checkups and the consultation, or even for the evaluations and all, right? And if they are from the retail, they would be the traveling moving around to the shopping places, and if they are responsible one for the corporates, you would be requiring those corporates to be around you, a place where your team can really perform and serve the clients in the best. Where I said the clients, the patients are the best. In general, the clients, you remember in the previous the video, I have already talked about the key audience, the key partners like the hospitals and doctors, the diagnostic laboratory, the HMOs, the health insurances, corporates or the NGOs or the government or the travel companies, and put together would be our targeted clients, whereas the patient is the ultimate beneficiary of oral activities. So to identify in a place where your team can really enjoy working and perform in the serve to the client and based. Cost plus the overall company fit, you must understand that it's not that imaginary thing which we have to pick up an outclass location. We must see that the cost of that, the rental, the cost of the premises, overall the cost of the operations and all will also put together to understand the suitability of the location. Community networking opportunity should be availed, right? So the all around, maybe if it is a densely populated, the more and more kind of people might be positioned over there, right? And so how you would be able to take up those activities to have a networking with those communities. And then flexibility in terms of tomorrow, if you require to have add on the few more desks or the expand for few more rooms and all, you should have that flexibility available in those premises. Convenience and brand association with us, and then the opportunity for the team building and the growth, the growth potential for the growth. Yeah, this all, the major factor which you need to consider while selecting the location. That we are depending absolutely on your acumen and your judgment in terms of identifying the office which will suit to the entire prerogative here. How big space and what kind of a space? You would need around 40 to 50 square meter of inside carpet space, as a standard. But if you go for a unit franchise only in a sales office, they're not doing much of the activities, I will say that half of this space would be enough. So that is a 20 to 25 square meter or 30-35 square meter would be sufficient enough. But if you are looking at going for an original the partnership or the master partnership for the certain the geographic areas, obviously you would need a 40 to 50. But we are not saying that immediately we'll give an original the authority on that. You have to build upon slowly. So a step now of a 25 to 30 square meter, and then you can class out to the further on to expand it. And this should be in a commercial property, commercial, business wise, there should not be any restriction in terms of getting a licenses if requires to, practice this business. What would be the seating capacity? So primarily you would be needing a 5 to 8 seating capacity, excluding the waiting area and reception. Reception would be there. The counseling room, you would need in a consulting room, and the manager's cabin. So this is put together a 5 to 8 seater, which will include a counseling room, the consulting room, the manager's cabin. So to consider it out, right? So I'm fairly I hope I'm fairly able to help you out to understand that office requirement for this particular the office opening or for the business request. Right. So we're moving to the next, another most important the factor and the challenges perhaps to look into, and a small error into that will put us in a very difficult position. That is on manpower and recruitment. If you pick up the seating capacity where we said the counseling, consulting, the manager's cabin, and 3 to 4 working station. Now 3 to 4 working station, that means We're going to pick up around 3 to 4 people managed by a manager. So logically the 4 to 5 people would require definitely. So what you would need in a center manager, that means the business manager over there, who would be taking this overall development, performance and the maintenance of this business center activities to obtain maximum efficiency, the quality services or the profitability for the organization. All in all, he will be the overall responsible person for this, for the management of the office. Then thereafter you would need in the sales and a marketing at least 2 to 3 people who would be engaged, because one side we are looking at the retailing, they're going out to the partner with the hospitals and doctors. Other side you have a corporates, NGOs, government. So you would need people who would have been having those kind of a knack for the outreaching to those prerogatives. The drive the sales by designing and implementing the targeted marketing strategies. Obviously whatever we have defined and decide, they have to execute in the market, right? The sales and marketing executive also responsible for the maintaining the customer relationship, the tracking the sales data and creating the performance reports. That means that whatever we have cast out on daily basis or weekly and the monthly basis, they must meet out those targets to sustain in the market. Thereafter, the operations support. This person, very important, because he would be coordinating with the patient for the counseling and the consulting, would be taking care of the enabling the documentation, the managing the correct information in the CRM system, and coordinate with the global CPO, that's a central processing office, which is based out in New Delhi, India. This person will be also acting in the capacity of a CPO, that means extended arm for our global office, who would be coordinating for all the the local coordinations. And then you would may need or may not need the reception or the reception boy who would be greeting, helping them, the patients to or the visitors to navigate through the office, supplying them with the refreshment as they wait, and in addition maintain the calendars for the appointment, sort mails, make copies, plan travel arrangement, etc. So it will be very handy in terms of taking care of the office for the for the floor level activities. At the same time should have a handy on to take up those certain other coordination work for the operation support. So that's all. The office requirement and the activities which you will take up, and based on the activities, the hiring the manpower for the development of the team. Hope I'm again able to draft out this information for your understanding, and you will be taking it further on. Yeah, so if you have any sort of a question, you can shoot a mail to the following the coordinates. I'm available to address all your concerns any point of time, but wouldn't definitely dig out all the resources to understand these two important facets of our practices, right? I'm looking forward to helping out furthermore on it. Yeah, thank you so much.